Hi, hello, hi-fi people, Kelvin from London here. Stereo Review X is my channel. I review vintage stereo equipment, mostly amps and speakers. Today, I'm going to review these. A real classic from the vintage period and something that frankly is sort of not well known. Yeah, these speakers aren't well known. Not really sure why. Maybe they didn't caught the press enough or advertise enough, but these are ma4 Mark II. That's monitor audio, ma4 Mark II, not to be confused with ma4s, which are different creatures, yeah, with a different bass, well, bass drive in position and a different tweeter. This is ma4 Mark II from 1978, rated at 20 to 100 watts. I mean, they're basically pretty sensitive, yeah? So you don't need a ton of power to drive these. And they're big speakers, you know, they're all gonna go nice and big and loud. And if you've got a place where you can make some noise, this is a total bargain. Price-wise, now, God, I've got to tell you actually, I've got two pairs of these I got about 3 years ago. I got one pair for £45, yeah? And another pair for, I don't know, £80, something like that, which was an absolute bargain. I got one pair and I saw another, had to get them. You would pay on eBay, I'd say you probably get them between £100 and £200, yeah? So that's £200, about $250 US. It's an absolute bargain. You know, there's a whole range of MA4, MA5, MA6, MA7, I think. And you know, this is fairly near the top, yeah? It's quite a decent complex crossover in here. This bass driver, yeah, is the Kef bass driver. I'm not sure, Son Audax or maybe C's silk dome tweeter with this metal protection, which is handy because then you don't bust it. Worth noting, you see this driver a lot in 70s speakers, yeah? It's a Kef driver, but they are not all the same. So there's probably 3 different versions that look exactly the same from the front. This is the best one, right? This is a SP1039, and I'll just show you here. It has the same magnet as this. That's a B139 Kef bass driver. So this has got a great big magnet on the back of here, which is good, basically, yeah. You know, I'd definitely rather see a big magnet than a small magnet. But you'll see other speakers, in fact the monitor audio ma5 looks exactly the same, but the magnet is smaller, yeah. So, you know, it's just not so beefy, let's put it like that. Okay, there's not tons of these about, so you won't find them out, or you won't be able to buy them easily, unfortunately. But really, this is a total bargain of the vintage world. Okay, I will do the sound for you in general, and then I'll go into detail. Okay, I've literally just been playing these for a couple of hours, and oh, sorry, I should say, so I've also been playing those Spendpr BC ones, if you know what they are. They are sort of accepted classics. They sell for like £500–600. And also comparing with these LS50s Kefs, which are brand new, sell for about £800. I prefer them quite a lot. Anyway, sound in general goes like this. It has all the classic attributes of the vintage sound. It's big, it's sumptuous, it's detailed, you know, it's a detailed thing, it's a class thing. It has a few shortcomings. Everything's big. The second you put these speakers on, you're like, you know, I am basically, oh great, I'm happy with this, you know. Everything's big and clear, just the scale. The whole scale is large, do you know what I mean? You know, it's a well-made cabinet and it's got a big bracing thing running back to front, you know, in there to keep it rigid. So it's a fairly well engineered thing, nice crossover, and I'm really not hearing, I'm not, you know, in some speakers I can sort of tell what the tweeter is doing and what this driver is doing. I'm not getting that effect, yeah? I'm getting a cohesive sound. It's better that way, do you know what I mean? It's kind of relaxing. I'm not going, oh, that's a tweeter and that's not, and da da da. Just getting a nice big sound. Anyway, let's go through these songs. As you know, if you don't know, I go through a bunch of songs. By the end of me talking about these bunch of songs, you should know pretty well what this speaker sounds like. Okay, first song I did, Alison Krauss, Now That I Found You. Big sound, delicate, yeah, real nice, nothing annoying you, no frequency sticking out which you get with some speakers. The voice is great. I would say it's a warm sound. You would call this classic vintage. You know, it's warm, but it's still accurate. You know what I mean? It's not muddy and blurry. Do you know what I mean? I'm impressed by this. I put it's full. It's enveloping. Yes, it's a bargain. Sorry, I put it's a bargain. When I plugged him in, I thought, God, I got such a bargain here. You know, that was the kind of first thought I had. And everything's bigger. It's big and clear. It's really big and clear. It's great. Okay, second song I did was Too High, Stevie Wonder. The vocals are big. Okay, here we're hitting some of the small shortcomings of this thing. And this is a shortcoming of loads of two-way speakers. And this is dishing out a ton of bass, a real ton of bass, yeah? Lo and behold, what's the problem? There's a bit recessive mid-range. The mid-range isn't as sharp and clear. It's kind of big and it's kind of detailed, but it isn't like super focused, you know what I mean? So with some speakers that are small, which are more mid-range orientated, like the snare drum, you know, it'll really place that and image that right in the middle. These aren't quite doing that. So back to this thing. Too High, Stevie Wonder. Some recessive mid-range, but it's big and spacious. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm really feeling the bass, and I'm following the bass, yeah, because it's got a ton of bass, and this is nice bass, yeah. This is not, you know, woolly, unimpressed, blurry, thuddy. It's nice, yeah. Here's another interesting point here. I put nice drums. The tom-toms are clean, yeah. The drumming is clean. This Beckstream cone, yeah, it seems to, which you'll find Kef do this, you know, the other drivers like this, and this small 4-inch mid-range driver, it does drums good. That impact sound, that a drum is a very explosive, it's a very fast moving, and has that what do they call it, leading edge, yeah, that's how they describe it. It does drums just lovely. Drums always sound sharp and right, you know, and I think that's really this material, this Beckstream. Okay, highly enjoyable. Okay, next song did Take It Easy by the Eagles. Okay, I put here, this is the most bassy I have heard this sound, yeah? So I've got tons of speakers, you know, those are probably the most bassy ones I've got there, the Spendpr BC ones. I mean, these things have a fair bit of bass. I don't like them very much, but they have a fair bit of bass. This made this sound like a mid-range unit. They're like a real load of bass, you know, and it's nice, you know, it's nice. So, Take It Easy. More bass than I have heard on other speakers. It's not as airy as the BC one, yeah? The BC one has got a bit more mid-range openness. So, you know, but it's still lovely, and the voices are lovely, and there's no harshness. The tweeter is nice, yeah? The tweeter is really nice. I've got here accurate vocals, harmony, but not as big. Yeah, in a way that sort of, because that has got a bit more mid-range, even though I don't know how to describe it, but anyway, I'll just carry on. But not as big, I thought, but you know, still great. And the floor toms, there's a few floor tom things on that Take It Easy. Just sounds great and big, and right, and you know, just delivers that good on a big scale. Okay, I did also there Witchy Woman, the Eagles. If you know this song, has a big floor tom intro. It's a big bassy floor tom introduction. A lot of speakers that can kind of sound vague and blurry and just like boom, 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 you know. But here I've got good intro, detailed, getting the detail there, and I put here can sound blurry on a lot of speakers. That won't come out well defined, but it came out well in there. Maybe the snare drum is a bit lower and bigger than it should be, yeah? So that's a thing about the kind of mid-range dip, and the fact that this is dishing out so much bass, and the fact it doesn't have a dedicated mid-range driver, yeah? Yeah. There's nothing better than a dedicated mid-range driver on a well-engineered thing. But so the snare drum was like, it was there, it was pretty sharp, but it was a bit bigger than it should be, if that makes any sense. Yeah, and I put here, the imaging is pretty good, but in the kind of upper sounds. So really in the sounds that this tweeter is doing, the imaging was nice, but when you got into the mid-range, you weren't getting the placement so good, yeah? It's still lovely though. It's still like, you've got to remember what we're talking about is something you might get for 150 quid. You won't get a better bargain for 100. If you can get them, you won't get a better bargain. Okay, next song I did Black Man, Stevie Wonder. This is a really demanding song. I'm pretty funky in the bass, yeah? Pretty damn funky in the bass because we've got a ton of bass here. But I am noticing a bit of a dip, a little bit of a, you know, recessed mid-range here with the horns. That's not really coming out so good that it would do like on those BC ones, or you know, the horns would come out good or better on here because these are more like mid-range things compared to this. But the horns especially, it was a little disappointing on that song because that song maybe it's got some if the mid-range isn't happening, I think then you just got all the bass, and it just wasn't delivering me this sort of wasn't just, I don't know, I just put it a bit disappointing. That's the best thing I can say to you, is just read what I said at the time. I also did a couple of extra songs very quickly. I did Wear It Well, Rod Stewart. It was just really like a live band. If you play that song, it's really like a band having in the room, you know what I mean? It's a bit raggedy, but you know, the recording is really like a live band in your living room. The great bass intro. The snare is a bit fat. That's what I put there. I also played Spanish Bombs by The Clash, and where I put it, it's got two different Mick Jones and Joe Strummer sing on this song. I can really pick them out good. You know, they sing in different lines and all kind of different harmonies and vocals. I'm getting that really nicely. I'm getting a big, pretty damn clear picture. Probably the biggest sounding speaker, well, that I've got if you watch my channel. Certainly bigger sounding than those Spenders, which are pretty big sounding. Okay, I'll just do a little bit of the contrasting between these speakers now. Sorry, bear with me one sec. Yeah, okay. So the Spenders have more mid-range, yeah. Those Spenders are are basically a more sophisticated thing. They're a pretty damn sophisticated thing. The crossover on there is a very detailed thing. You're getting a bit more mid-range off of those Spenders. And on that song Black Man, I think all round they were a better sounding thing, yeah. This is the thing with really great speakers, is, you know, they reveal themselves across 100 songs. You know, they turn out to be the ones you want after you've played around with tons and tons of speakers. And that's why those Spendpr BC ones have a great reputation. And they're 600 quid. or 500 quid, you might get these for 150 quid. These are, these are in the same league, I would say, and what else would I say? So these two compared to one another, literally, I mean, these aren't low on bass for a small speaker. This has got just like tons more bass. When I went from this to this, it was like, where's the bass was just gone, It's weird when you swap from one thing to another, because you should really let yourself adjust. But all I'm saying is, wow, a ton of bass, and it is nice bass. And if you compare these two, the scale is huge here. These, they just seem small. Just made them sound small. And people say they have a big sound stage and stuff like that. These made these sound small, I promise you. And then these, by the way, about £800, brand new. Okay, I'll just sum it up for you. If you get these speakers for like 150 quid, you've probably got one of the best vintage bargains you'll get your hands on. It's a big sumptuous sound. It's nice, it's accurate. It's in the territory of that Spendpr BC one. It's similar things, similar era, similar sound, It's probably not as well engineered as that, and they don't do everything great. Yeah, they don't do everything great, but some things they do really good, really good. Yeah, you're never aware of the crossover here. It's just one nice sound. I think I said that earlier. Okay, it's a total vintage bargain. Monitor audio ma4 Mark II. Just say I've got the ma5s, which I'll talk about, and I'm not saying like all monitor audios are great. It's that MA range which are pretty damn good. Yeah, once monitor audio get into their silver cones, their silver drivers in the 80s and 90s, totally different ball game. Yeah, might as well be a different company. I'm not rating those things, but the MA range in general is good, and I think this of that range is probably the best bargain you get your hands on. That's a Silk Dome tweeter. Don't know if I said that. Okay, that's probably about it. Hey, please like and subscribe. Send me all your information if you know anything that sounds good, and we can just compare notes and figure out what sounds good, and that is the point. Okay, bargain. I've got to tell you, bargain. Okay, bye now.